In this video, I'm going to run through and give you an overview of how you can use and utilize Class Notebook with your pupils during your e-sgol lessons and course. Now, Class Notebook and Microsoft Teams, they do run side by side, and they do sync together and work seamlessly together when working between both applications. Now, when you access your team, as you're aware, the Class Notebook tab appears up on the top. Now, you can either access Class Notebook either through the team itself. So if I click on Class Notebook here, I will be able to access the Class Notebook. And if I click on these three books here or the navigation icon, I can navigate around the Class Notebook. Now, as you can see, as the teacher, I can see the content library, the teacher only area, the collaboration space, and the pupils' personal notebooks that I can have an overview of, but then obviously as pupils, they can only access their own personal notebooks. Now, like I mentioned, you can use Class Notebook within the team. However, to best use Class Notebook, I do advise that that you use the Class Notebook or the OneNote desktop app instead. The functionality, the usability, and there are more functions available through the desktop app. Now, to find the OneNote or the Class Notebook desktop app, I'm going to click on the search icon on the bottom left-hand side of the page. If I scroll down, as you can see, I got two versions here of Notebook. Now, obviously, the 2016 version is an older version. In this video, I'm going to go through the Windows 10 version, which is the most recent and most up-to-date version, and it's more powerful than the older 2016 version. So I'm going to got it open at the bottom here. So as you can see, now I've opened up OneNote for Windows 10. And if it's the first time that you've logged into or opened this app, it may ask you to log in using your hub credentials. So obviously use your hub username and password to log in. And then because it's the accounts are linked, you then would be able to access the Class Notebook from Teams. You will be able to access the Class Notebook from OneNote for Windows 10. Now, the first thing, if it's the first time that you've opened OneNote for Windows 10, you'll notice that there's no Class Notebook options available through the app itself. So what you would need to do in the first instance is, if I click on the three dots, so the settings option, located on the top right-hand side of the page, and click on Settings. And then I want to click Options. And then if I scroll down, it gives me an option to toggle the Class Notebook tools to either to be on or off. So I'm going to turn them on. If I close the options down, as you can see, the Class Notebook options and then tools, they now appear within the app itself. So after logging into OneNote for Windows 10 by using your hub username and password, and after activating the Class Notebook tools, you're now ready to personalize and to add content to the Class Notebook ready for your sessions. So like I mentioned, OneNote and Microsoft Teams, they are both Microsoft products. And because you've signed in and logged in using your hub credentials, you can access the Class Notebook from the team. So as you can see, this is the Class Notebook from the team. You will be able to access the Class Notebook within the OneNote for Windows 10 app. Now, if the Class Notebook doesn't appear, what you would need to do is click on this drop down here where it says Notebooks, and then you would need to search for more notebooks. It'll choose, or it'll populate the most recent notebooks that you have used. And then what you would need to do is click on the one that you want to access and then click open. So I'm going to just open this testing notebook as an example. As you can see, it opens. It'll take a few moments, but it'll search for that class notebook and then open it up within OneNote for Windows 10. So it's just a few moments. As you can see, here we are. This is a particularly large notebook with lots of pupils. And if I click on the drop down here, it adds to this list here. However, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to use this e-sgol test class notebook. So like I mentioned at the start, within your class notebook, you will have a content library where you can add any content that you'd like to share with your pupils during your sessions. You have a teacher-only area. Now, this means you have a personal private area where you can start creating or uploading any documents that you want to distribute and share with your pupils. You have a collaboration space, which means there's an area within Class Notebook where you can ask pupils to collaborate on a specific presentation, on a case study, something that you want them to work on at the same time. And then underneath those sections, you have the student personal notebooks. Now, as you add pupils to your notebooks, they will automatically be added to this list here. So if I added an extra pupil, once it's synced, then the pupil will be added to the bottom. Now, if you find that at any moment in time when using Class Notebook through OneNote for Windows 10, that things are not syncing, the pupils aren't seeing what you're seeing, or you can't see the pupils' work, what I would ask you to do, what you would need to do is, if you hover over the title of the Class Notebook, click right click, and then force the Class Notebook to sync. So I'm going to sync this notebook. And what you'll notice is that little cog or those arrows will spin and it will update and sync that class notebook. The same goes with the pupils. If you start adding or uploading documents to the class notebook and the pupils are unable to see these documents, the pupils will also be able to right-click on the title of the notebook and will be able to force a sync within the notebook itself. So if you do get any complaints from the pupils, that's what they would need to do. Now, moving on to uploading documents and sharing and distributing work to pupils via Class Notebook. I always like to start by describing a Class Notebook like a digital lever arch folder or a digital book where the pupils can add notes, they can complete tasks, and you then have an overview and can view the work that they completed in one space. So instead of having to carry the lever arch folder around with you or to carry the pupils' books with you, Class Notebook allows you and allows the pupils to populate and to complete certain tasks within the digital platform that you can access at any moment in time. And the pupils can also access these during when they access their laptops and so on. Now, within a lever arch folder, you always have dividers. Now, the same goes within Class Notebook. Now, but instead of having physical dividers and those colorful dividers in your lever arch folders, you have these little sections. Now, within these sections, so for example, within the content library section, if I click add section at the bottom of the page underneath the list of pupils, I can start adding dividers into my into my folders. So I can add as many file dividers into this work, into this class notebook. As I add these dividers or these sections to the class notebook, the pupils, when they sync their class notebook, they will also be able to see these folders, these sections, these dividers being added. Now within a lever arch folder, so you've got your colorful dividers, and in between those dividers, you have pages. So these could be your worksheets, these could be your presentations, it could be case studies that you would like to share with your pupils. And the same goes with your class notebook. So you have the sections, which are your dividers. And then, oh, let me just retitle this now. So unit 1, that should be. So you have your sections or your file dividers, your dividers here, and then inside each divider, you can add pages. So I'm going to put task 1, and then I'm going to add another page, task 2, task 3, and so on. And as you can see now, I can start adding pages within the sections. So just like a normal physical lever arch folder, you have your dividers, which are your sections, and the pages in between then is what you would put in between those dividers. But this, in essence, is just a digital version of a lever arch folder. So if I go to unit 2 now, again, at the moment it's empty, but I can start adding pages within that section. Now, the content library, like I explained, pupils, anything that you add within the content library, the pupils will be able to access and read. However, they will not be able to delete, edit, or amend any of those documents. So your content library is where you will just dump your resources that you want the pupils to access. The same goes with the teacher only section. So you can add sections or dividers where you can start populating the resources for your sessions. And the same goes with the collaboration space. Now, the collaboration space, the difference between the content library and the collaboration space is that the collaboration space, like it says on the tin, is an area where all pupils within your team will be able to access and to collaborate on in order to complete a task. So if you want them doing a lesson, doing an e-sgol lesson, you want them to read over, for example, a case study and to jot notes or to write their thought around that document, then the collaboration space is where you would do that. The same goes if you can with the content library, you can start adding. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to move that into the collaboration space, so you can move the sections from one place to the next, but you can start adding extra sections then to different areas within Class Notebook. If I go back to the content library, you can close these down. I'm going to now add a task I would like the pupils to complete. So I'm going to add it within the content library in the first instance, just to go through the task with the pupils, to give them an opportunity to go through it before they can complete it within their own personal area. So first task, I'm going to do a music task here. So I know in A level music that they do rock and pop is one of the units. And the first task is I would like them to click on a YouTube clip, listen to the video and to the music, and to answer the following questions. So if I go to YouTube, so this is the video I'd like them to listen to. and I'm going to insert. So up at the top here, if I click insert, first thing I'm going to do is insert a link. So I'm going to paste the YouTube clip and just give the link a title and insert. So again there, I'm going to move that to underneath the text. Then I now need to add the questions that I would like the pupils to answer. Now, again, if I go to insert up on the top, if you ever need to insert any documents, any videos, any pictures, even audio clips to Class Notebook, go to insert, and then you've got all these options here. Now, when you insert in a file, you have two options. You can either insert the file as a standalone file that the pupils would need to download in order to answer, or alternatively, you could insert the file as a printout, and then the pupils can answer and complete the task directly on Class Notebook. And in my opinion, I think the printouts is a fantastic way and an easy way of sharing information to your pupils in order to complete a task. The best way I would describe a printout or inserting a printout is in a normal traditional lesson when you've got all the pupils in front of you, you tend to maybe in your lever arch folder again, you would take one of the sheets out, photocopy it, and then hand it out to your pupils. Now, by inserting a printout, that does basically, it's basically the same where you're photocopying the handout onto the page itself. So if I go insert printout, and I've got an example here. So documents, music. So this is my Strawberry Fields Forever document. And as you can see, that now has been pasted. It's been printed out onto the class notebook. So as you can see, the questions for the task has been attached as a file, but also the printout is there ready for the pupils to complete their work. Now I'm just going to move this up slightly and move that to the side just to tidy up the page. Okay, so what I'm going to do quickly, I'm going to just sync this notebook to make sure that it's up to date, and just going to share and show you now. If I go back to Microsoft Teams and go to the class notebook that I've been working on, and if I go to the navigation tool, if I go to content library, unit 1, as you can see, the task that I've just uploaded onto Class Notebook is now available through the Team version or the Class Notebook version through Teams. Okay, one other thing I wanted just to highlight to you before moving on, instead of typing or writing the instructions out onto the page, you can include an audio clip. So this can be used by clicking insert an audio. You can insert either instructions for the pupils to complete, or when it comes to providing pupils feedback or marking their work, instead of having to type your comments, you could use the audio clip, insert audio clip in order to provide feedback for your pupils. So as you can see, it's recording. If I click stop, as you can see, that has been attached now to the page. And if I were to click this play button here, then I would be able to hear myself speak. And one final thing before I move on and show you how to share this task with the pupils. At the moment, I can move this around, which isn't helpful if you want to answer on top of the page. So if I right-click onto the page itself and open up the picture option, I'm going to set the picture as a background. Now what that means now is that I can't actually move this page. So it's been glued in, it's stuck onto the page, which means when it comes to answering the questions, the pupils will be able to, when you share the document with the pupils, they'll be able to click on, oh, I need to do it for each page, sorry. So yeah, you need to do it for each page, but now I can start typing on the page. I can start typing, or if the pupils do have access to a touch screen laptop and have a stylus, then if I go to insert up in the top and or actually draw up in the top, then the pupils can, obviously I'm doing this with a mouse, they can start writing their text. Okay, so just a few things, ways of adding comments or adding content to the page itself. So you can add an audio clip, you can type, or you can start writing if you've got that touchscreen capability on your laptop. Once again, like I mentioned, you're going to have to set each individual page as a background, but then that does make a big difference when it comes to pupils writing on the page itself. So the activity or the task is now ready for the lesson. However, because at the moment it's been shared within the content library, the pupils will be able to view and read and go through the activity, but that they will not be able to complete the task itself. Now, if you wanted the pupils to complete this as a collaborative document, then obviously you can do that within the collaboration space. So again, if I go to collaboration space, unit 1, if I just quickly insert the page into the collaboration space, the pupils then, all of these pupils here, would be able to access this document through the collaboration space in order to answer it simultaneously at the same time. However, I'm going to delete that page. I want the pupils to complete this task individually within their personal notebook areas. So to do this, what you would need to do is access and click on the class notebook tab up in the top, and then you'd want to distribute the page. Now, what distributing the page means is in a traditional class, once again, if you think about your Lever Arch folder, again, you'd open up a worksheet for the pupils to complete, go to the photocopier, photocopy it, and then hand it out to the pupils to complete. However, within Class Notebook, you distribute and you share this document to the pupils via their personal notebook areas. So if I go click on distribute page, so I'm going to distribute the page. This window appears up on the right, and then there's a few steps. The first thing what you will need to do is where would you like to distribute the page to? So again, you would communicate this with the pupils, but I want to share it within the Taflenni Gwaith, so the worksheet folder. Then I'm going to click distribute, and then what happens in the background, Class Notebook, it will take a snapshot of this page and then share it within the pupil's personal OneNote area. So that's done. So let's have a look. So if I go to this first pupil's class notebook area, go to Taflenni Gwaith. As you can see at the bottom, the task is there ready for the pupils to complete. So if I go to someone else's personal notebook, Taflenni Gwaith, there we are, task in, rock and pop, the activities there for the pupils to complete. And again, because these are individual personal notebook areas, the pupils will only be able to access their own documents and their own areas. Now, when it comes to distributing the page, if I go back to this page here, you can distribute it to individual pupils or to groups of learners. So if you are looking to differentiate the activity, then you can do that. However, your teaching groups are probably small and you want the pupils to complete the same activities. So if you just click distribute page, and then you can share that with the pupils. So within Class Notebook, you can also distribute and add new sections within the pupils' personal notebook areas. So if you feel that they need to more sections or more dividers need to be included within the pupils' areas, you can do. So you go to distribute new section, and then you would then give it a title, and then you would click distribute in order to distribute a new section. So I've done one as an example. I just need to sync this quickly because obviously it hasn't synced. So if I go to Gareth now, as you can see, previously there were only 4 sections, but now I've synced the notebook. As you can see, a new section has been added to the pupils' personal notebook areas. So after distributing the document, the activity to the pupils' personal notebook areas, and you've gone through the task with the pupils, is obviously down to them then to complete the task. Now they can either do it through OneNote for Windows 10, through the class notebook on here. However, they have got an option to do it through the Teams that they're linked to. So if I go to class notebook and I go to this pupil here as an example, Taflenni Gwaith, task in Rock and Pop, the activity is here for them to complete. However, Class Notebook through OneNote for Windows 10 is better. The screen is larger, there's more functions, and there's more features for the pupils to use. So after they've completed the task, obviously you as the teacher then would need to provide feedback. So you can either do that by going through individual notebooks, go into the actual folder or the section, go into the page and providing feedback, either by typing, either by drawing or writing freehand if you've got a touchscreen laptop, or by inserting an audio clip. So it's entirely up to you how you provide feedback for your pupils. Or alternatively, instead of having to navigate through individual notebooks, what you can do within OneNote for Windows 10 is if I go to Class Notebook, the tab up on the top, and click Review Student Work, I can review the pupil's work through this option here. So this window, so it asks me to choose a section. So where did I add this work? So I added it within the Taflenni Gwaith. Then it'll ask me, okay, what page do you want to review? Well, this is the page that I created and I distributed. Click Next. And then what I can do then is I can actually navigate from one pupil to the other in order to navigate and in order to provide them feedback. So alternatives, you can either do it by going through individual notebooks here, or by clicking Review Student Work and then finding the pages through this option here. For some reason, all the pupils don't appear on this window here. Not sure why, but a list of all the pupils should appear, and then you'll be able to move from one pupil to the next and then review their work. You can then, once you review their work, you can lock the page, which means that the pupils won't be able to tamper with the work or maybe amend their work once you've given them a mark and so forth. So I just go into unlock those. I hope that this video has given you the opportunity to learn more on how Class Notebook can be used with your pupils during your e-sgol sessions through Teams. Now, just because Class Notebook is available through Teams doesn't mean that you have to use it. This video just outlines and gives you an overview of what Class Notebook is and how it can be used. If you have got any questions or any queries about Class Notebook, then please drop me an email and I'm more than happy to go through how Class Notebook can be used in your subject.